Hello,
Hi.
everybody. We can already see some hi. You got yourself cookies. Cook. Okay.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
Yeah. So
Welcome
can
to
you?
this special SEO Nerd Switzerland.
So could you see us? Could you see the three of us? Yes. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So you can hear us, see us. Yes. To answer the question, are participants muted? Yes. But you can ask all the questions that you want at the end. You can write them down, and then Billy will interact with your questions. Okay. So should we start? Allez, let's start. And I will start by sharing our slides. Okay, let's go.
Welcome, everybody, at SEO Nerd Switzerland. This is an association meant to share knowledge about SEO, knowledge for everyone. So we have different kinds of topics throughout the year. We have more technical topics, more content, and more like outreach and backlink topics. And hopefully soon, a couple of analytics topic, because I really like analytics topics, and I think would be great to have someone. So the association, it's all free. We have sponsors who help us pay for the fees, for instance, the fees for Meetup, and also for the transcript. So you find always the videos of the Meetup on YouTube. And we create subtitles for them, and they are also published on my website. The transcript, you can read them. So I'll share the link as soon as I'm finished talking. And what else? Yes, so we have sponsors to help us. And first one is Leap. It's a web development agency based here in Switzerland. They speak German and French, so you probably have an office close to where you are. Don't hesitate to contact them. And they've been supporting us since we started a couple of years ago. Next slide. And the second sponsor is Working SEO. Working SEO is a podcast and a job board. I'll share also the link to the podcast. The podcast is about sharing stories. So as you know, SEO is a pretty cool career because it's quite flexible. You can be in-house, you can work in agency, you can be a consultant, you can be at home. So it's pretty nice to know how everybody started in the industry. So it's a 30-minute podcast where you hear about other people's stories, how they started, and there's always a specific topic, like someone who works with the publishing industry, or someone who does specifically outreach. Or so it's always a nice story and a bit of a topic for your next walk or your next run or whatever you do while you listen to your podcasts. Just give it a go, give it a listen. And do we have a next slide, Sarah?
Yeah, I got them, but they take time.
And the next slide is our next meetup. So this is the last meetup before the summer break. And we welcome Crystal in September. She is going to discuss profile pages. So I have seen already partly her talk. This is going to be very interesting for anyone who works in the service industry, because it's about how to create really good pages for an individual who works within a company, and really show off and who that person is, what that person knows, and so that the profile page is really prominent in the search results. So do come, it's in September. And again, of course, I'll share all the links, and hoping you can make it also in September.
Okay, thank you so much, Isaline. Now, we obviously arrived to the super moment. So let me introduce Billy. First of all, I have a couple of things to say before she starts the talk, because she is an SEO evangelist, and she works at the Salt Agency. She is specialized in learning and development management. I would like to say a word on that. Then, Billy, you can correct me or say something more. One of the super cool things that she's doing at the moment, she's training people that are doing a career switch. So I passed through a career switch. These career changes are really a nightmare, and it is fantastic to see somebody that is dedicated to that and then is helping for this career change. And I think that everybody working with you is super, but super, super lucky. So that is like a fantastic news. Maybe you will do that also in the future. If yes, no, maybe. You are on mute. You are on mute. But yeah, now it's good. It's good. Okay. So
yeah. Sorry.
No, go tell me. Will you do that maybe in the future?
There's a good chance that we're going to do it a few times. It's really exciting. We're going to be working with people that are doing career changes or not sure what to do with their careers, and just give people all the information and knowledge and success they need to have a career in SEO. And at the end, there is a permanent job for them. So we're not just training them up and leaving them in the ether. So it's so exciting.
My God, that is really the dream. I mean, follow up with her, because I mean, that is like the stuff that everybody would like to do. So sadly, I didn't meet you in 2014. Bad luck for me. But again, but good luck for everybody. And if it is correct, because we were discussing before, it's like 3 weeks of training with you. So wow! Plus 6 months of training with in the team.
Yeah,
the job, but then
yeah, pretty much, and then with me training alongside that as well to like keep up with the tasks that they'll be on with and getting the technical and client management skills. I'm so excited for it.
But do you do that international, or it's like they have to be located in the UK?
So at the minute, it is just in the UK. However, we are recruiting internationally at the minute, from senior exec all the way up to account directors. So if you are looking for a new job, get in touch with Salt Agency. Sorry for the plug there, but we are recruiting en masse at the minute. So.
Fantastic for all this information. Okay, this was a little bit of extra information given to the others, just because I got excited about your story of training. And what else can I say about you? Yeah, I know that you're passionate about Disney, and who is not? So good news. Do you also like the Marvel or just Disney?
I like Marvel, but yeah, more Disney.
Oh, she just killed me, okay? And but again, I still like her. And she is fan of dinosaur, because we had another speaker that was fan of dinosaur, so she said to us, but Billy, she's fan of dinosaur. Is that true?
Yes. Don't tell me it was Miriam that said that too. She's obsessed with telling everyone that I'm obsessed with dinosaurs, which I am, but it's so funny. It's just like an ongoing joke now.
It's exactly that.
That's Miriam Jessia, for anyone in the audience who would like to research her. She's a fantastic SEO. Absolute, in my opinion, she'd be fine me saying this. She's a lunatic. She's fantastic. Like, so knowledgeable.
And she was one of our speakers, by the way. Okay. Okay. Thank you for that, Billy. That was a fantastic introduction. And now we give you the stage. Now it will be about you and accessibility.
Awesome. So I'll just share my screen with everyone.
Yes.
So this presentation is going to be a little bit everywhere. I've got some slides. I want to show you some live examples, and I want to show you an example that's on my phone. I'm not the most technically knowledgeable person, so I don't know how to do the exact, like I know how, I can't recreate the exact experience on my laptop as I can on my phone. So I'll just show you that way. You'll understand when we get to that part. But today, I'm going to be talking to you all about auditing for accessibility. From my role as a learning and development manager, a lot of people don't think I actually have a lot of SEO experience, but I've been in and around SEO for about 7 years now, worked in agencies, in-house, I've done all sorts. And I've worked on a lot of clients, a lot of websites, and accessibility is something that I've seen a lot of success from and also been very passionate about. So yeah, these are just my quick details. So I work at Salt Agency, and if you do want to get in touch at all, you can find me literally anywhere online as at Billy Gina. But let's get straight into it. So a lot of people don't realize that accessibility is important because it does improve SEO. It helps you rank better. It means anyone, anywhere can use your site. But what businesses benefit from most, which I hate, I'd much rather businesses want to do accessibility because it's the right thing to do, but it's not necessarily always the case. But it creates a real loyal customer base. If your site is accessible and say a person with a disability has been able to have a good experience from your site, they will tell other people that it's a good site. They'll share it with their community, they'll share it with their family, and it creates that loyal base that you might not even realize. It's not just SEO, it's user experience, it's so much. And it also increases sales. So I will go into that one a fair bit more a little bit later on as well. One of the really big, powerful numbers that I don't think people realize is that 15% of the world's population lives with a disability of some sort. And that works out well over 1 billion people. I were going to put the full number out there, but I'm not sure about any of you, but when I'm reading numbers that are in their billions, I get confused. So we're just going to generalize and say it's over 1 billion. And I would just like to give some stats around disability and the population of Switzerland. So 1.8 million people in Switzerland live with a disability, and that is 20.9% of the population. That's really high. Like if you look at other countries, in the UK, it's 18%, and in America, it's around 16%. So that is a big population of a disabled community you've got there, with the entire population being 8.6 million, like in total. And one of the fantastic things that we don't see everywhere is like nearly everyone in Switzerland has some access to the internet, whether it's at school, a local library, they use the internet in some way, so much so that 8.42 million people have internet access in Switzerland. It's really cool. And also from my research, I found that last year, 1.347 billion Swiss francs were spent online on e-commerce sites. So it's a lot of people are online, a lot of people are spending, and a lot of those people are disabled. So if your site isn't accessible, you're missing out on up to 19.4 million Swiss francs a spent by that disabled population. It's so important. I hate talking about accessibility and putting money onto it, but just from my experience working with like loads of different companies, is these are the numbers that will get accessibility like pushed through the company and made a priority. And it's so frustrating, but that's just my experience that I've had over the last few years. So when we're talking about disabilities, it tends to typically fall under 4 different categories. So these could be motor disabilities, so things that affect your movement, could be in a wheelchair, you could have severe arthritis, you could be part of the elderly community who can't put their finger straight to use a phone. It could be cognitive, so it could be ADHD, dyslexia, dyscalculia, autism. There's so much that could affect your attention while you are navigating the internet or doing anything really, but we're just talking about the internet in this example. Auditory, so tinnitus, deafness, and all the different variations of auditory disabilities. And then visual. So visual, that could be someone who is completely blind, colorblind. Some people also count people that have like severe migraines and cluster headaches under the visual area as well, because that affects your eyesight. And these are all things that you need to consider when you are creating a website. Can somebody with limited movement navigate it? Can somebody with colorblind actually differentiate from the background and the links we've got in there? It's massive and it's so important. But this is when speaking to a business or a decision maker, a stakeholder about accessibility, these are exactly what they think is you are talking just about the disabled population, and that's not actually the case. Everyone is included under accessibility. Accessibility means and includes a person whose attention might not fully be on their device while they're navigating the internet. So this could be a parent who's got 2 kids swinging off their arms and screaming and shouting and throwing their toys, and they're just wanting to check the football scores on their phone. That is an accessibility need. We need to make sure that they can do that while that is happening. So accessibility, while yes, it makes the internet better for the disabled population, and that's incredibly important to do, everybody whose attention or something could be going on where they are limited to their movement while using their device needs to be factored in for accessibility. It's so massive. It's a massive spectrum. It's way more than money. It's the entire population essentially. So what I'd like to do today is go through a few different steps that I like to take when I'm auditing for accessibility. I've got 2 websites that I want to show you because thankfully I wasn't able to find one website that was completely inaccessible in every single way. And one of the main things I look for when auditing accessibility, I looked at about 300 websites. I didn't find the main thing I look for. So I was so thrilled for that, but I will still talk you through this. So at the minute, I've not found an audit template that works perfectly for myself when I am working on accessibility. So what I tend to do is just have a spreadsheet open and make notes in that. This will be beyond, like, it'll be very simple what I put in here because I will summarize it before I send it to a client. These are just what I keep my notes in, or sometimes I love the notepad on Windows. I use that probably more than I use a spreadsheet. But until I've had time to sit down and make something that works perfectly for me, I just would rather not work on anything proper at all. So I do have a question that you can't answer because you can't reply to me other than in the messages. But are you ready to witness some beautiful, beautiful websites? So the first one I would like to show you is a car leasing company that's based here in the UK. They are an actual business. I promise you this isn't a joke, and they do earn a significant amount of revenue each year. So this is lingscars.com. It's beautiful. Like, I don't know what else to say when I see it. It literally pains me. But I don't work on this website. They're not a client of anyone that I know of. So I feel like it's fine to use them as an example. So obviously, your initial thing when you open up this page is, wow, there's a lot going on. I would just panicked in case I wasn't screen sharing there, but I am. It's a lot. There's no easy way to say this. And one of the things that they have done is somehow be able to block certain crawlers from navigating their site, as well as many tools that you would use as part of accessibility. So there's one tool called Axe Dev Tools. That's the tool I swear by. If you use Sitebulb, they've actually got that built into their crawler under their accessibility option, and will check for a lot of the issues in there. But sometimes, surprisingly more often than not, you'll find that you might not be able to use it because a site will have done something so bad that you can't. I can't even show you what happens when I use it because it closes my Chrome down and I would lose you all. So before I actually start talking about what's wrong with this site, let's talk about what's wrong with this site. So this is a van sales / dog sales / travel website that I have found from America. It is still somewhat regularly updated. The last article posted is 2017. However, if you do dig into it, you can see that they do actually update that a bit more. It's very much it's very much the joke American stereotype that you see online, but it's purely real. But I just clicked the wrong thing here. What I would like to show you, sorry, I'm just clicking. Oh gosh, I'm downloading. I'm going to get viruses. It's all going wrong. For some reason, my mouse is not letting me scroll down to inspect the page, so I'll just Control-Shift-I. Always forget you can do that. And this is a plugin that I use called Axe Dev Tools. Just a Chrome plugin. It's fantastic. I recommend it. Developers and user experience people put me onto this. And I swear by it. Sorry, I've got a new laptop, so I have to just set it all back up again. And just like most tools, it'll just scan your page, or you can just have it look at one bit, and it'll start giving you an insight into what's wrong with the site. That's not what I wanted. It did work when I tested it before earlier on.
But that is normal. Is the live demo, then always you have bad luck with live demo. But if you want, I have the dev tool. Maybe you want to send me the website if you want, and I can test it and probably share the screen, and you drive me.
I can do that. I think it's working now.
Let's let it work then.
It is taking a bit longer than normal. So either it's a lot wrong,
but that is normal.
It's going to break on me again. Yeah, it's okay.
But it's okay. So
while that loads, I'll talk to you about some other things that I look out for when auditing accessibility and what would be major things for me. So you can see here, obviously there's a lot going on anyway. There's a lot of different colors, a lot of links. It looks spammy, it looks terrible. No offense to whoever wrote this, but it does. Oh, it's done now. It's found 483 issues with accessibility. We'll move on to those in a second. I'll just continue with what I was saying. Immediately when I load up this page, an issue that I have is the color. For me, as a person with ADHD, this is too much. I'm done. I can't do it. It's making me stressed. But also for a person that might have, say, color blindness, it might, there's people that have like blue-red color blindness and all sorts, where the colors on here, they wouldn't be able to differentiate from them. It'd just be unusable, basically, because you can see there's a lot of blue. The background's blue. The background's also white. The text is blue and white. For some reason, the links are blue and white. Everything they could think of is wrong as you get. And it's not showing in this folder, in the split version, but I'm scared to close this in case I lose my dev tools. But if you looked at the full page view of this, the text goes over the images. You can't see it because the images are dark and the text doesn't stand out. Obviously, accessibility wasn't the intention of this site when they created it. I'm not too sure what the intention of this site was when they've created it, but there's so much wrong here. And you'd be surprised how many sites like this still exist. Maybe not. You're SEOs. You've probably seen worse. You've probably seen some wild stuff that clients or businesses that you've worked with have done. But there's still a lot like this. So it's a good example of things gone wrong. This red color, I don't know why they've got. I think it's maybe being hacked because it's trying to sell a lawyer now in there, but it's just a mess. It's not appropriate. It's not good, but it's unusable for a person with visual disabilities, essentially. But after running the DevAxe tools, which is my favorite go-to when doing any auditing, I can see that there's issues. There's just unlimited issues. And the good thing that this does is, one, it is backing up that I'm saying that the color contrast isn't sufficient. But what it'll do is, if I click into that issue, what I can do is take to my developer, my stakeholder, whoever I need to within the company, and I can show them exactly where the issue is. So this is telling me that I've got an iframe here. Here's the exact source code around it, and what I'd need to do to fix it. And I can keep looking. I can inspect it, so it'll bring it up or highlight it, so I can see exactly where it is in the page. So that's amazing, but that was actually, I misclicked for some reason there, I think. Did I? Yes, I did. I misclicked. So, but it's still the same. I can see exactly where the issue is, what text it involves, how to fix it, where to fix it, and it'll just keep bringing up recommendations for me. You can do this if you're working on a small website. You can do this manually. So what I'd recommend is look at like grouping pages together. So look at the home page, look at service pages, category pages, product pages, and just spot check a few with this tool. But if you are, say, working on a client that has got thousands to millions of pages, I'd recommend using Sitebulb to check the accessibility. On Sitebulb, you can crawl up to 2 million URLs, and it uses the Axe DevTools API, so it brings this up, but in mass. So that helps, but most of the time, you just need a small selection, because if a developer is going to make a change to one page grouping, it'll tend to roll that across the entire page grouping. But it also points out things like, does the link have like actual discernible text to it? What does that mean? Like, what is that saying when you click into it? Is it labeled properly? Like, does it have is it just done properly? Like sometimes I found it very, very helpful when pages may have hidden content, hidden links and things like that within it. So I found this tool in particular very good for doing that, which isn't an accessibility thing, but it's massively important. So what I could then do is just write down not enough color contrast. When you are talking about color contrast, we're going to be testing my memory here. I think I'm not going to lie, I forgot what it is. But what I'll do is I will double check myself. It's something to 4 point, like a ratio of something to 4.5, like to be able to properly tell the difference between the text and the background. I will tweet or send Sarah and Iseline the actual stats on that. I'll not sit here and just lie to you because my brain's just giving up that information on me. But using tools makes it easier. However, using tools doesn't give you the full information that you need. It only gets you part of the way there. So whilst I've got 483 issues here, there's some of it that might not be as a high priority to me. So images with alt text, that is a high priority to me. It also positively affects SEO. It makes our images rank better. It needs doing immediately. Links with the same name, we know that one needs fixing, unless like it's the same link, but then why is the same link there bajillion times or whatever? A lot of this seems just like basic SEO, and accessibility is a lot of basic SEO. You can see here that it says page should contain one level 1 heading. That to me reads as H1. I'm not a developer, but that's what I'm assuming that means there. We know that's important. We know a lot of this is important. And the reason why that's important is there's two paths of that. So users that need to use a screen reader use the heading structure to navigate the site. Again, tell me in the comments. I will be looking at these afterwards. Have you ever used a screen reader? What was your experience of it? I use a screen reader as soon as I start working on a new website. This is the one that I prefer. I'm happy to put that one in the chat for everyone. I'll put this here. That's the one I use. I'm not going to use it at this minute because screen readers are a bit annoying. I'm not exaggerating. They do what they do, what it says on the tin. They read what's on the screen. And I think on a user level, they do need work. But at the minute, if a disabled user, a user that needs a screen reader, was on the site, they'd use that to jump to the content that they're looking for or what applies to them. They wouldn't sit and listen to it go through the whole thing because it's irritating and also unnecessary. It goes on forever. And we need the heading structure for that. Another massively important test when you are auditing a site, you can't necessarily see my hands at the minute, but you should be able to get the same user experience of using any website without using a mouse. So if we're on desktop, you should be able to just use the tab key to navigate a website. That'll jump you from link to link and move you down the page. And then for any pages that you want to open, you should be able to do that with the enter key. If you can't do that, you're creating a bad experience for a user. A lot of people don't use their mouse. They use the tabbing, and What you also need to check when you are tabbing around a page is that it follows a logical order. You've not just loaded up a page, press the tab key, it's took you to the navigation, and then you press the tab key again, and then you're on the footer and you've not seen any of the middle content. And it's such a small thing, but a lot of people actually do get that wrong. It's not good. It's not on. So I'm going to take you back to my favorite business site potentially ever. By the way, you should have a look at this site because you can play Scalextrics on it online. You can do karaoke. It's wild, this website. It's an actual business. But I'm not going to sit here and make fun of them all day because that's mean to them and unprofessional of me. So we can see, it's loading. We can see, I don't know if you can actually, it is tabbing around the site as I'm moving. I'm going down the navigation structure and it is adding black lines under things. But there's so many links on this website that I can't actually navigate it in like a usual way. So the way you'd go down this site is you'd do slowly moving down from left and move all the way down on the left hand side, and then you'd go one to the right and go all the way down. That's not how a user works a website. So whilst I can tab on this site, it's not following a logical order, so it isn't a good experience. Imagine being a user that can't use a mouse and you're trying to get to this link over here where it says DS7. That's hard to read for some reason. That'd take such a long time to get to, you wouldn't even bother. Or even if you wanted to get to this card that they've called a long boy, it's going to take you a very long time. It's terrible experience. I'm getting annoyed already, especially when things like this happen. Is there anyone else, by the way, seeing this and just starting to become Ling's biggest fan? No, just me? Okay. So yeah, I'm going to stop on that one point for now and just quickly move on to my next. So I am going to load up my phone for this. I could inspect the page and just show you in the, just change the view to mobile, but it doesn't, I can't show you exactly what I'm trying to show you by doing that. So what I'm going to do is stop sharing my screen from this so I'm not tiny in the corner. So I'm just loading it up. Although I think I lied a little bit earlier as well, because these do actually make money in the UK. But when I was scrolling through, then I did notice that they are based in China, but they do make money in the UK somehow. So this is Ling's phone website. I'm just trying to get the window reflection out. Again, beautiful. Immediately, you can see that we've got to actually click to get on the website. But for auditing for accessibility, we're not going to click like this while we're getting our going through this user experience. We're only going to navigate this website using our knuckle. So we're going to go through and click every link we can, scroll through and do all sorts, only using our knuckle. This is how a massive population of the disabled community actually navigate things. So I'm doing this backwards, so it's a bit difficult, so you might have to bear with me. So I'm now on Ling's website. Immediately, I'm noticing I can't actually scroll. Let's click something. Okay, it's took me now. So it's took me off the mobile version. Now I've clicked a link to the desktop. So you can see there's already an issue here with the meta viewport because it's horrendous. I'm going to scroll through. We're using my knuckles. I'm going to also try and zoom in and out, which I know this is so hard to see. You can see that you can zoom in and out, but how it's set, they've got it wrong. It's not right. Even if the viewport's there, it's not right. Oh, this is so difficult to do. I definitely should have practiced this bit earlier. But I'm just going to go through. I'm going to select a different page, actually, because I don't think this one's going to give me what I'm looking for. So I'm going to try and go back. It took me back to this page because I tried to click a different menu option, but the links are so close together that I can't click it with my finger. So if I weren't doing this live, I'd be writing every single one of these things down for the client, and I would be taking it to them. So I've just clicked I want to look at their deals page. It's just took me to this, giving me an option of saying I can view the 30 best deals, or I can search for something specific. So I'm going to search for something where I'd need to type something in. Oh, luckily it's giving me the menu option, which is actually something usable. I'm going to pick whatever car that was, a Skoda. Oops, I went to click what model do I want, because I'm simulating what a disabled user might do. I've gone to click that button, but using my knuckle, I've clicked Link's little box here and it's took me back a step. It's so frustrating. And you've got to think, so whilst that's not going to be the entire 20% of the population in Switzerland, if we just used the 4 category split, which is an absolute butchering of data there, of saying that, okay, let's say 5% of people have limited mobility and used, and then say 2% of them only can use their knuckle or can tab around the site. How are they going to use the site? You can't do it. It's horrendous. So what I'd be doing, like I said, the whole time while I do these different steps where I'm using Sitebulb, I'm using AxDev tools, I'm manually doing it with my hand or looking at the code, I'd be scribbling down notes constantly. Can't click easily. Can't tab in illogical order. I'm building out a list of things that need doing, just like you do from a normal audit. But the thing with accessibility is that just auditing it isn't enough. A really fantastic way to build trust and respect from the disabled community is by creating a thing called an accessibility statement. So from my experience, it's so easy to do. You don't even need to write them anymore. W3.org has a tool that'll write one for you. And this follows the WCAG like standards or WCAG. I don't know how people pronounce it. But you can go through, you can like say, we're not conforming to the accessibility standards. We can write down what we've identified as areas we need to fix, put in your business details. It'll create a statement for you, really specific. And if you publish that, say in your footer or just somewhere on your website, disabled users do check these. If they've not been able to use a site and then you've been going off online saying it's epileptic, well, I can't say that. I'm going to pick a different disability. It's Deaf Awareness Week. That one doesn't work. It's Visual Impairment Awareness Week. Here's our website, weirlingscars.com. It doesn't work. You can't use it. But write a statement and be like, we've identified we've gone wrong here. It doesn't fit you. These are what we're going to do to fix that. We're going to do that within the next year, 18 months, 2 weeks, whatever you want to say. And we're going to be accountable for that. It builds trust, it builds loyalty, and it puts the responsibility on you to actually do that. And it's a written commitment that then, if it's not done, because a lot of the things in accessibility aren't just for SEOs to fix. We need development, we need user experience on board. And if you're not there, take it back to the client and be like, we're not doing this. We need to do better. So what I'll do is I've just got one slide left, which is just a summary of the things that we're going to look at when we're using the phone. That's that. but basically I am done. I know I've rambled for a bit longer than planned there. But it's just so important. So I really hope you've learned something and will take it with you into your day-to-day work. Also, was I sharing my screen then? No, I wasn't. I didn't share my screen. I'm sorry.
No problem. We understood what you were saying. Everything was very clear what you were saying. And we saw the knock, we said whatever you were saying, it was clear. So I even didn't realize that you needed the screen for that.
Yeah, sorry. I'm glad you didn't realize. I've put the link. So this is the link to the tool that will generate the accessibility statement. I did show different steps of how you use it. Unfortunately, you couldn't see that. Yeah, thank you so much for listening.
Okay. Thank you so much. First of all, I want to say something to make it clear. Very few people have the guts to do a live demo. So you did a live demo, first of all, and you did an excellent live demo. You also demonstrate that by using the knock. I have to admit that I never, ever thought about that. And I think that is an excellent tips, and probably all the people here will start using. I imagine that tonight we will start to scroll through all the website and see if people are using it. Now we can go to the question. Are you willing to go to the question? Ready for the last round? Okay.
Yeah.
So there are a couple of questions, and then it is like a little bit more about best practice, I've noticed, or top 10. Okay, let's start by the last one. Any top 10 tips? 10 maybe it's a little bit longer. Any top tips, let's say, on what to do to get most right? So probably a couple of stuff that you shared today were also very useful. But go. I should speak instead of you. Go.
No, that was correct. A lot of the things I've shown today help. It helps doing research. So there's websites what can give you somewhat understanding of like how, say, someone with dyslexia would look at a website or read content and things like that. Like, do research and imagine yourself in different people's shoes, and that just helps give you that awareness. So when you are working on something, it's just there in the back of your mind. That's what initially got me interested. My sister was diagnosed with dyslexia, and I was like, well, I have dyscalculia, but how different can that be? Like, turns out massively, because I used a dyslexia simulator, and yeah, I was like, oh gosh, I've been far too hard on her my whole life.
Oh my gosh. Maybe people don't know what dyslexia is. It's like, for example, you can give an example. For example, when you are dyslexic, when you are reading, it's complicated because you invert the letters, for example. So I don't know if you have some other example than you want to give, just to make clear how it's difficult sometimes, like for dyslexic people.
Yeah, so like Sarah's just said, the letters jump around, they'll invert, you'll read a sentence and you'll completely just misread it. The words will jump, the letters will jump. It's hard because it's something that I don't have either, so I don't want to like jump on and say this is the experience. But what I can do, if Isleen and Sarah are fine with this, is I can find an example of the website that I used, and you could share it with the community if you want.
Sure.
Yeah, I can't remember it from the top of my head, so I'd have to do a few minutes of research to find it. But just putting time into understand other people's needs has really helped it be a big part of awareness to me. And then one of the best tips anyone gave me was to follow another SEO called Diane Kulseth. She's fantastic. This is her like main topic that she looks at. So she gives a lot of amazing advice and shares that a lot.
Can you write her name on the chat, maybe, because I do.
Yeah, I might spell her surname wrong. I think it's spelled like that.
Okay, we will check. At least we have an indication.
Yeah, she'll be called like Bob or something. I've completely got it wrong. But no, she's called Diane Kulseth, but that might not be spelled like that. read up on it, and also just do the things that we did there. Use the tools, especially while you're learning. Really lean on them tools. But that knuckle thing, when I first did that, that was like a moment for me. Never occurred to me until I did it by accident, and I was like, oh gosh, that's something else that I've never considered. I don't think I can think of 10 tips though at the minute. I'm sorry.
Which anyway, it's already great what you gave as a tip. So it's more than enough. Now probably people know better of dyslexic and will also stay in their mind to understand, okay, when we are building, what happened, or when you have a problem, for example, with colors or this kind of thing, you can be more aware of that. And okay, so we have some tips there. Okay, some best practice. So now you have shown what you did. So best practice probably, I don't know, maybe on that, what are some best practice? For example, maybe in the, to have contrast, because at the beginning you showed and they were not contrast in the website.
Yes, so I've got that data actually just on another presentation. So I will get that exact stat of what the contrast needs to be. That is such a big thing. So for me, I tend to use either white, that orangey brown color, or black. I don't necessarily do a lot of color in my presentations because I work with someone who is colorblind, so maybe I'm a little bit more aware of it. But the rule is for the contrast between foreground and the background should be 4.5 to 1. So that'll ensure it stands out. But there's no one set rule for color blindness. It's such a varied thing. So there's like blue and red, there's like brown, there's all sorts what people can't see. So you're never going to get one thing that suits everybody for that. But if you can try to find something that works for a majority, that helps. Most sites tend to do the white and black, like white background, black text. That's fine. But orange is that weird orangey pinky brown that I sometimes use. I'll find the exact color code of it. Is meant to be a really good one, but it's not the most visually like appealing color for like neurotypical non-disabled people.
So there was also a point, and it was interesting. Then you pick up. You were reading and you were switching from a link to the other one, no? And at a certain point you said, oh my God, not really, oh my God, this is my interpretation, oh my God. Okay. But you say, this font, it's difficult to read. So maybe that is also one of the things, no? The font is probably an important matter.
Font size should never, ever be smaller than 16 point. I tend to, for a website, my headers tend to be like 22 to 24. And I try to advise to have like 16 to 18 as like body text size. That's really important. Apparently the most disabled friendly font is Comic Sans, but everyone hates Comic Sans. But yeah, if you go for like the just really clear ones, like I genuinely can't think of the font right now.
Arial, the old Arial, or that nobody wants anymore to use, probably is one that works.
Yeah, Calibri, Tahoma, Lato or Lato, I don't know how that one's pronounced. They're the only ones I can think of from the top of my head because I just looked at the PowerPoint and that's what I've used.
Listen, we still have one question.
I have one that was the one who was above long ago. Do you have an example of a website that has a couple of best practices? Maybe a website you have been working on, if you can show us, or any other websites where you can point us to a couple of Good thing you have seen?
Good things I've seen. The thing is, I've not come across, so I can't share client websites because we have non-disclosures going for them. But one of the things I do find, even for clients, is I've not seen anything that's perfect in every way. I've worked on some sites that have been fantastic for like majority of it, but they've never put alt text in anything they've ever done, and ever. I don't think there's one best practice example. I'm really trying to think from the top of my head.
So maybe the fact that you share Vitriorg, I expect them to have a perfectly accessible website. I mean, they are the main that drive that, so I expect them maybe to have one perfect. So that could be probably an example that somebody could use. What do you think?
Yeah, I'll try and have a look for one as well. Like there's some that I can say that have done work, but I don't think everything's perfect on them to look as a standard. And the funny thing is when I first started researching accessibility, a lot of the sites that I looked at weren't actually accessible. Or my own blog, I talk about accessibility on there. I've got a weird bug that every other page just like does this weird thing, and I've just not had time to fix it. I've not got alt text on every image, but as long as you try, I think, and you stay aware, that's important. Yeah, but I will look for a best practice.
I think I'd be interested to see a website where the thing with the tab works correctly. Like when you were auditing the websites, you mentioned when I navigate without my mouse, it doesn't go at the right places. So it would be great to have an example, like, when you just go with your tab and your keyboard, to have an example for that.
Give me.
I mean, not now. You can share it later on Twitter. I'll just retweet it. But that would be interesting.
So the Decathlon website, oh no, they broke it, never mind. They used to be very good at that, but I've just tested it before. I shouldn't have said them before I said it. You can only go across the navigation bar. You're not going down the site. That's annoying because I was like, yes, I thought of one. But yeah, I'll send you some. I'll find some. It's hard to.
We still have one question for you. Then it was during the talk, you say, you were exactly switching with the tab, as Isaline was saying. So Jean-Paul came up with the question, would you suggest to put some anchor link in order to tab through a page?
Are you okay to repeat the question again? Sorry, I was.
Yes, sorry, sure. So if you would suggest to put some anchor links, so the anchor to the link, in order to tab through a page. So meaning, okay, so for example, if there is the name Sarah, I have a link and it goes, I don't know, to my profile page. I don't have one, but let's imagine that I have one. So
no, I'd only use links when they've got purpose to be there, because a user can still navigate the site using the up and down arrows or the page up and page down arrows. So they don't just tab. A lot of sites do just naturally have links in all sorts of random places, whether it's in the sidebar, buttons and stuff. But yeah, there is more than just that. That I probably didn't explain that well enough during the presentation, but yeah, you should be able to navigate. Like, you probably won't be able to click any other buttons, but you should always be able to navigate a page by just using the up and down arrows. The tabbing's more what I use for, can you actually click links and jumping around. Also, I'd be very wary of JavaScript links, because that sometimes can cause issue with the tabbing around as well. JavaScript, not just for this reason, but has been a bit of a bane of my existence for a long time when it comes to links. But that's a whole different story. But yeah, that can be a limiting factor as well for disabled users.
Thank you so much, Billy. I think then we don't have any more questions. And you did an excellent job. Really, thank you. Yeah, it's time for you to get your, yeah, bravo, Billy. Thank you. And I don't know what to say. Thank you. So we let you go and continue your fantastic program where you train people. And then maybe somebody want to get in contact with you.
Yeah,
okay.
Get in touch if you've got any questions or want to talk about things, and I will genuinely look for those and send them to the both of you to share wider.
Thank you so much, Billy. You are great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Billy.
Ciao, ciao. Thank you. Have a nice day. Evening. Now you can rest. Ciao, ciao. Bye. Bye to everybody.
everyone.
Bye. Thanks for joining.